Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of For What It's Nerd. Yes, that's right, a special episode of For What It's Nerd coming to you on a Thursday. Isn't that crazy? This is because the new Superman trailer dropped, and I was going to make a small short about it, but I think this deserves a full episode. The trailer looks really good, actually. The color grading looks insane. The actors look really well in their roles. Besides a few haircuts here and there, Guy Gardner being played by Nathan Fillion. That's a choice, admittedly, but Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult looks great. David Corenswet as Superman looks great. Lois Lane, I forget the actress's name off the top of my head, but so on and so forth. Mr. Terrific. They all look really, really well done. And the movie seems to go for this kind of angle of Superman is kind of being dragged through the court of public opinion. He's dealing with the struggle of that because he cares so much about these people who are seemingly turning their back on him. And I think that's going to be a really cool story point, and seeing how the superheroes do they join forces with him? Do they see him as kind of the enemy? Do they see him as extra because he's from beyond them? I mean, Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern. He has powers coming from beyond the Earth, but some of the heroes not so much. So what's going on there? What's the idea? What's the story? And it's about Superman basically finding his acceptance. But there's a lot of imagery of hope in this trailer. The catchphrase "Look up," for example, Crypto kind of taking him home. Beyond the fact that you have that scene of that child lifting up the Superman flag, I think that is such a poignant image for what Superman is, right? Especially that other moment in the trailer where you see Superman come in and save that young girl from being basically trodden, so to speak. And yeah, brilliant. Looks really good. I am not, and I will say this a lot, I am not as clued up on DC as others, so I don't know the villains that are going to show up in this, but I am so excited to learn them, and I think that's what's exciting about James Gunn taking the lead on this. I've previously said, actually, that James Gunn has a certain style, and sometimes I dislike that, but I think what he does really well, and it's very similar, and I've said this before as well, to Dave Filoni in the Star Wars world, is that he brings these deep cuts. And he brings these things in that people wouldn't necessarily think of doing, and he really is doing it for the fans. Going back to the Guy Gardner haircut for the Green Lantern in this movie, and you're looking at it and you're going, why have you picked that? But it's a comic reference. It is from the comics. This is a guy who likes these comics, enjoys these comics, is leading this new charge for DC, and wants to do it right, and wants to be in that comic medium, because that's what they are. They're comic movies. So I've got to be honest, I'm not, again, I'm not this big Superman fan. I'm not this big DC fan. But even me sitting here, I was like, that looks like a movie. That is an event. And you can tell from the way people are talking about it online. You can tell by the way the discourse is already rolling. And I thought, I need to make a video on this. I need to discuss it because I think it is it's going to be a really relevant movie, not only from the standpoint of it's the first movie for the DCU, but also because I think it is a movie that is fundamental to a lot of things going on right now. A lot of movies that we've had in recent years, and I think this is one of the big things that's happening in cinema at the moment. A lot of the movies that we've had about anti-villains, villains, we've just had basically the death knell for the Sony universe, because people don't want that anymore. People wanted the nuanced stuff. People wanted the grey characters. They wanted the dark characters, because we had that kind of time. But since COVID, I don't know if people have kind of maybe noticed this as well, but in my opinion, I have. Since COVID, everyone wants levity, everyone wants hope, everyone wants those characters. I think that's why Superman is so perfectly poised to come back now. And I think James Gunn knew this. I think James Gunn also knows that Superman is, Batman's great, but Superman is the linchpin, right? If you get Superman in place, you do that well, you can follow with a Batman and people will be on board, because people will be on board with Batman regardless. But you need to start with Superman. You need to get something in the door. Superman is, for all intents and purposes, yes, he's more like Captain America in a lot of ways, from like the kind of peace, justice, American way, or peace, justice, and truth, or whatever it is now. He is that, right? Yeah, but he is more of the Iron Man for the MCU equivalent. If you have him front and center and it goes well, then you can go from there. You know, you can really do a lot. And Superman is, you know, the kind of primary for a lot of the Justice League villains, right? Lex Luthor, Apocalypse, you know, no, not Apocalypse. That's the wrong franchise. What's his name? Like Steppenwolf, and then the guy above him. What's his name? It's going from me. This is bad. I told you guys I'm not good with DC. What's his name again? I can't believe I've remembered Steppenwolf, but not the actual guy. What's his name? Oh, I need to look this up. 1 second. You guys are going to have to wait while I do this midstream. Steppenwolf. I'm going to have to put Steppenwolf in and go from there. That's not the right one. Steppenwolf, DC. And then he is the uncle of Darkseid. That's the one. Darkseid. That's who I meant all along. I meant Darkseid. You know, Darkseid, and then, you know, a number of other characters are kind of linked to Superman. So Superman is a good linchpin to start everything off. Go out from there. And also the fact they're using Superman as their logo for God's sake, you know, I think they're kind of going with the idea that Krypton's going to be the start of the DCU, that kind of kryptonite factor, so to speak. And also because, you know, the second movie is going to be Supergirl, and James Gunn has made comments recently saying that wasn't the intent, but the script is really good. So, you know, we've got to kind of get our heads in that mindset that we're going to have these movies about hope and peace and justice and rightfulness. And I think that's the point, right? We're in a phase of society wants films that show us a way out of the mire we're in right now. And I know people will say it's a comic book movie. It is, but it's about so much more than comics. Go and talk to these people who've read Superman comics. Go and ask these people who have watched these shows and they watch it because it's an ideal. It is, for all intents and purposes, the exact same thing as the American dream. It's the exact same thing. It is the idea that if you do the right thing and you act morally and you do well, you will get something back, and not in a negative way and not in a selfish way, but you will gain happiness, you will gain love, you will gain compassion, understanding, all these things. That is what Superman stands for. That is what James Gunn is feeding into here. And I think it is such a good idea, such a good start. You know, even though I've been so critical of Creature Commandos, you know, this is what we're about, right? You know, people who do these types of things, who do podcasts, write shows, you have to be critical. You have to discuss it. I can badmouth one thing one week and then say the next thing is absolutely great, because that's what media is. And I think this is such a good point. I personally would have kept Creature Commandos back, launched this first, because this seems like it's going to be it's going to be an event. You know, it's going to be more than that. You're going to have, and the thing is as well, you're also going to have Fantastic Four coming out around about the same time. And that is a movie that's about similar things: family, love, unconditional support for one another. You know, these are the things that they're tapping into. It's not hard to kind of work it out, in my opinion. So I'm very excited for next year to see Superman, to see Fantastic Four, to see all those things. If you guys are interested in hearing more about this, or in hearing more about things in general, we will be doing an episode on the weekend as usual for our regularly scheduled episode for Mufasa and Sonic this weekend. Going to be talking about those two. They're going head to head this weekend, with both releasing on the same day. Sonic, I think, is personally going to win out, but you never know, because Mufasa, Lion King is a household name, you know? So we will wait and see with that. But until then, if you guys have enjoyed this, enjoyed listening, enjoyed watching, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that comment, do something, tell me something about how you feel about this, what you think about this movie and the subsequent DCU thereafter. And yeah, this has been really fun. It's been a really exciting to do a little bit of an extra episode for you guys this week. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you guys. I'll see you there.